had a conversation with the CBN governor, and the CBN governor told him, look, um, people can start using the old 500, old 1,200 naira. But let's look beyond that. We're talking about a court judgment that was delivered on the 3rd of March. That judgment was delivered on a Friday. And we spoke with a legal practitioner, and he said, well, the federal government have a window of 2 days to address the issue and get back to Nigerians. But we'll see how long it lingered. 3rd against 13th. So it's more like 1 week, 3 days. Can we say that? 1 week, 3 days before, the CBN. And don't forget, we've had something of such happen. That was as soon as Mr. President made that broadcast. There were on different, media platforms where we saw CBN have lifted the ban. And then much later that day, the CBN came out to debunk it. And they did not debunk it through press statement. They debunked it as in they didn't make a press release. It was audible for Nigerians to hear. And now we're having another of such trying to play out. If we look at the number of days this took, what message is this sending to many Nigerians where a court judgment was delivered not just by any court but the highest court of the land, and it took the federal government 1 week plus to respond to that judgment? And what Galbashehu said, that they never told the CBN not to obey court orders.
Yes, going by what Professor Charles Chukwumasilo, the Executive Governor of Anambra State, might have said, Peniel, build up to yesterday. Many state governors, the likes of Godwin Obaseki of Edo State and some other governors, had already reiterated the fact that based on the Supreme Court judgment, and even during the verdict days when the Supreme Court had given verdicts, and of course even the days of the injunctions, they kept on re-emphasizing that based on these injunctions, the verdicts, and of course the judgment of the 3rd of March, in their state, as chief security officers of their state, as the chief executive officers of their state, that the old note still stands as the legal tender. And of course, these we've seen play out at various levels where we will get to hear that in some states, the old notes are not acceptable anymore. But when you go to another state, those notes are being accepted. Now, if the presidency is coming through to tell Nigerians as of now, as of yesterday, that they have never been part of disobeying the Supreme Court order at any point in time, then you get to see and hear that they were at various points that verdicts were given by the apex courts, build up to the presidential elections, and then we got also to see an agency of the federal government talking about the Central Bank of Nigeria, who is answerable to the CBN governor, is answerable to his boss, who is the president and commander-in-chief of the armed forces. Why didn't the presidency come through before the election day of 25th of February to tell Nigerians that, yes, we are not ordering at any point that these notes shouldn't be used as legal tenders as based on the verdict given by the Supreme Court? Why come through after the NLC might have threatened an industrial action after 7 working days? Why come through after governors might have come through to declare that if this is not addressed before today, being Tuesday, the 14th of February, midnight, that of course a whole lot will go ahead to execute the Supreme Court judgment and make the old notes valid in their various states of governance. So they're coming through to tell Nigerians. Let's not forget that based on the emergence of the president-elect, the current government of President Muhammadu Buhari is winding down. Policies, programs of the Muhammadu Buhari's led administration is winding down very drastically. And then the tone is changing. Policymakers are dancing towards the incoming So it is not really out of place to say that maybe because of the new government in view that will be sworn in on May 29th, musics are changing, the drum beats are changing, because we never saw this particular message from the presidency before the presidential elections. They were verdicts. They were verdicts from the apex court of the land, not from the court of appeal, the appellate court, not from the high court, but from the Supreme Court. So why after 10 days of this judgment being delivered, then the presidency now come to exonerate itself from disobeying court order? Then Peniel, then a whole lot has to be, a lot of questions ought to be asked by Nigerians based on the roots of this whole matter.
It's good. I like the line you're towing, but before we get there, there was a judgment which says maintain status quo.